Now Mazda also goes all electric with the Mazda MX-30. We got it here for you today on Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. With Thomas in front of the camera and Jonas behind the camera. So different colors, we'll have 2 different interior trims, everything exterior, interior, and the driving experience, new sustainable materials, all electric drive, all about the range, the pricing and so on. A very interesting vehicle, I can promise. And now, in Full HD, full screen and full length, let's go. In the front you can see the new Mazda MX-30 does not have a specific EV look, rather looks normal, a little bit CX-30, Mazda 3, something in between. And they also have this 3-dimensional shape where the hood laps over just a little bit. Starts with LED from standard, optional matrix LED, which you can also see right here. And in general, the scheme of this car is that most of the stuff already comes with standard equipment. And I think that's quite a good move. In the lower part, you got this crossover style look, although the car itself is actually not too high, but definitely quite a modern look already in front. And you've seen that we have 2 colors for you here today, and the red one here, the red tones by Mazda, really interesting. You can see, depending on the light, how much nuances of light are really appearing to your eye. So very beautiful choice. 4.39 meters, 14'4" or 173 inches is the length of the MX-30. That's the same length just as the CX-30, this new compact combustion engine SUV. So compact sizes and suitable for city driving, and that's also the thought behind it. They want to have it, maybe as a secondary vehicle or as a primary vehicle when you're not going on very long hauls every day or something. Zoom out to the range figures and so on. You can see here again the red car, we got contrasting side mirrors in black. The frames here are just plain black actually, and again this crossover cladding all over the vehicle. These are 18-inch wheels, you can see also in black, so again a modern styling. And we have this falling roofline which forms a rather sporty atmosphere. A nice Mazda stamped in lettering right here, and you can also get it, you see here, with the contrasting roof. Don't have to get it, but you can. The only thing here, the electric, is just a sticker. I think that it could have been made better, or just leave it like this. And yeah, this is a very huge area here. We're going to open it very soon. In the rear you can see a typical hatch style and a big cladding here again in the lower part, but that's also protecting against scratches to the paint, definitely, but a little bit bulky maybe, or what's your take? Well, and then they see here modern light signature as well. So the battery is 35.5 kilowatt hours gross, and you can here have AC and DC charging. So DC charging will be up to 50 kilowatts and AC up to 6.6 kilowatt only. Yeah, that could have been made a little bit stronger, I think. But overall, charging time will be okay, definitely, when you, for example, just leave it overnight or something. So, and they decided actually not to go for the biggest battery, that they can still offer it at a decent price. So pricing actually, even if you have most of the equipment inside, will be around 30,000 euros. Entry version with some benefits, maybe a little bit below, and later with more trim, a little bit more than that. In Germany, actually, there's a governmental benefit which makes it even less expensive. So this is actually a quite good price performance. Then again, the battery is not too huge, but we'll also see later on about the range. The official figure is actually about 260 kilometers, but more realistic is about 210 kilometers, and that would be about 125 miles if you consider like an average consumption of about 15 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. And here we go with the electric motor. Interesting, so we rarely see that. The reason is that there is a derivative from an ICE platform, so you know, there's a lot of space then in the front and not really well used for the inside of the cabin. So hardly ever we see, but that's also interesting. So if there would be combustion in the inside, you can see how much more space it takes and how much more efficient the electric motor actually is. Here, 145 horsepower, acceleration figure 9.7 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. So that's definitely more than powerful enough. And it's front wheel drive only. But again, for this car, is also probably then also the right decision overall. This is the car key. Yeah, pretty simple, but very light, but not the biggest fan of that, whatever. So now door closing sound. Also not the best door closing sound, but now what's to come? That's really cool. First of all, inside of the door. This is one of two stylings. This is a bright styling and it's called Modern Confidence. We'll soon show you also the other styling. Here, first of all, special is top part. This is kind of fabric or felt material and feels really nice and is 100% recycled. So, and then here this is actually hardback but has also the stitching effect. Then you have a bright leather red, so this is animal free and is super soft and it feels high class and premium. Already inside of the doors you can see this is a cork material and this is actually from cork residues. So it is also in a sustainable way produced or resourced and comes from Mazda. 100 years ago was a cork manufacturer or producer of cork products. Very interesting. So they actually use a citation from the past in this case. And then also all sustainable materials on the seats. Again, these are also animal free and have the bright styling. Grey fabric on the inside, some accentuations in the middle part. Looks like a Scandinavian high-class furniture design. And on the outside, again, the leather red. And it's a very special one. We have seen some leather reds in the past which maybe looked or felt cheap, but this one, again, a very soft material. And so like a while ago, you could see, oh, when it's like animal leather, then you can put it in and then it like takes a while to go back, but this one here very soft also when you touch it, so really good job. And also again, even this has a recycling share. So rest of the interior, steering wheel and so on, that reminds us of the new Mazda 3 or CX-30. That's just carried over. Special thing again that in the middle console we have even more cork use. Cork is a very interesting natural material. You can even use it for floors in your living room and of course for wine bottles. But here in this case it brings some more brightness to the interior and a special unique styling. Soon more also to the screens and so on. But overall this is very welcoming. And we can take a look at the rear door because you have the suicide door opening here. And you see in this case you have to open the front door before, otherwise it's not possible. So for dropping off the kids at school, maybe for young children, that's even better because it reminds you to get outside and really check if there's any car coming. Or yeah, I mean, if it's the wrong side, they go out. But then again, yeah, overall probably not the most practical solution. However, first of all, the look on the inside, again with the bright styling also for the rear seats. We're soon going to see, will Thomas fit in there? Now getting inside. So in the front, You have a feeling of a compact vehicle. It's actually very cozy on these seats, so the fabric do a good job. They also keep you cool in summer and warm in winter. There's no side support here as well. Seat is all the way down like this, and then with 1.86 or 6.1, there's plenty of headroom left still. So for being a little bit cozy here, I would put the seat a little bit more upright like this, and then you have a nice seating position here also. And reminds us rather, yeah, again, something between Mazda 3 and Mazda MX, between Mazda 3 and Mazda CX-30 here in the Mazda MX-30. Yeah. By the way, MX-30, because as also in the MX-5, of course, and you think, wait a minute, it's just a sports car. MX is for their special projects. That is the logic behind the naming, because the MX-5 was a special project and it worked out well. And this is now also a special project. So here up and down with the steering wheel, in and out. So it's a good manual process. You also have shifting pedals at the steering wheel. These will be used to determine the recuperation. Soon, of course, more to that when we drive the vehicle. Interior overview, again the steering wheel known from Mazda 3 or CX-30, left side. Volume control with nice clicking sounds actually, or picking up the phone. Right side for the adaptive cruise control, which is standard equipment. Autonomous emergency brake with cross traffic alert, standard equipment. Head-up display, we're soon going to show you, standard equipment. Blind spot monitor, standard equipment. Double thumbs up. Then cockpit atmosphere here, horizontal is stressed. 8.8-inch screen on the top part, no touch, controlling with the lower knob right here. They argue for safety reasons. That's what they said with the early models. But here then in the lower part, we have a new touchscreen, 7-inch. On the left side, you still have manual buttons. That's good to be able to easily control the temperature right there. But why should I use it here then in the screen? There's no reason for that. This is just easier. And I wonder, because that contradicts their argument that they have touchscreen for heated steering wheel, cool function, heated seats. Why then touchscreen in the lower part when they don't use it on the top part for safety reasons? You can easily access the lower part, yes, but still, I think the menu controls would have been just fine, even though, of course, it looks a little fancier. Okay. Then the automatic lever here, reverse mode, drive mode, like this. Actually gives you a quite good haptic feel, but then for the P, you have to go like the left side. That's a little bit complicated. Then even more lower, you have still a manual volume knob, that's good. And then this is the controller for the central upper infotainment system. Home button, GPS hotkey, music hotkey, and going back and pressing. And it's also with nice clicking sound and so on. So I think that's also a good quality. And then in the lower part, either you have these cup holders, or again the cork tops. Here you can put something here, or then again slide it up. I think it's a very interesting solution. Then again, a nice soft leatherette cover here. Wow, look at the structure they managed to put in there. Awesome. And then some more space, key, water, whatever, but the water would rather be in the cup holders, of course. Well, and then last but not least is the front area, which you cannot see from this angle, so we have to change the angle. In the very front, we have here a lot of space for your smartphone. That's really hard to access it from either side. Two USB-A chargers and a real 220 volt supply. Wow. Yeah, you see, I'm a fan of cork materials. I also have a cork belt, by the way, and here, of course, a smartphone cover. And the funny thing was, once I had this one like in the middle console, and someone said, does Thomas carry a bread with him in the middle console? No, it actually was the smartphone cover. This is the main menu then, and it's really simple. So I like touchscreens because they're simple, but in this case, I think it's actually quite okay because it's a basic menu and you can easily learn it. So with a hotkey or like this, you get to the GPS, which is a nice water animation there, for example, at River Rhine here in Germany, and zoom in and out also with the pressing and turning key. Then there's always also a hotkey to the Apple CarPlay, just here like this, and you just go to the right actually in the main menu. So you go back to the master menu like here. And I just put the control lever in the middle console just to the right. And then there we are. And it's a good integration actually. That works quite well. And let's listen to some music with the Bose sound system. It's coming quite bass heavy from the front here. And for a compact vehicle, that sounds really decent. So, and a typical Bose sound indeed. So also got the speaker at home so I can realize that. Very interesting. So muting is also easy with this menu volume key. So let's go back to the master menu once more. Communication would be, you can also connect via Bluetooth, for example. Information, you can check out energy efficiency history, for example. So, but not sure if you want to take a look at that while driving. Overall, I think the infotainment system is well done because it's, again, easy to access and you don't need to learn it first. The instruments present a mix of analog, for example, right for the battery status, and you can also see digital in the screen. And left is also analog for the power meter, or then when the recuperation is happening here in the charge area. Then the middle screen then is digital, and you can change it, have this analog digital view, for example. There you can see at 100%, almost 100% battery charged, 98 is a projected range of 200 kilometers. So that's actually quite realistic. And then you can change it like this, for example, for the driving info, like for the kilowatt hour consumption of 100 kilometers. Which should then be just from calculation wise about 15, see about that. And then here assistance systems view, for example, lane keeping assist and so on. Yeah, just the one you prefer. Here in this case the digital speed is the clearest. And the head-up display, you can see the current speed and the allowed speed, and also some more information if you like. At the back part of the seat I have a button which can slide the seat forward. Of course, you could also use the controls in the lower part, but yeah, this is a way where also then the rear passengers can actually get out themselves. And the thing is, however, when I am driving, I need to have the seat like this, and then it gets really close. It's more like an emergency seat here in the rear, or emergency seat bench, because it would be like this or so. And then I need to put my knees to the side, so it's not really suitable for 4 tall adults. So the rear seat's rather for children, for example, or when you're a little bit smaller, or when the driver is also not that tall. Headroom wise, it would exactly fit even if I put my spine all the way up. So that works, but again, legroom is the crucial issue. It's also not a long vehicle. However, here ISOFIX at the outside part, so you can use that then also very well for child seats. And again, this very nice and cozy fabric. Put that one down, then you have adaptive cup holders, which also hold the beverage very tight, and it really creates a nice living room atmosphere here. Yeah, with the suicide doors, it's more a show effect. I think they could have just done the normal thing. Here the middle console, by the way, is pretty far drawn back, so you can theoretically also sit in the middle seat. Yeah, but I have to fold myself in then a little bit like this. 366 liters is the trunk. It's normal for a compact hatch, and it looks also normal compact hatch-like, so a practical trunk. Of course, you lose a little bit of height because of the design, but I think it's still quite okay. So here the length is about 80 centimeters and the width about 1 meter, and the height here, the lowest one, 40 centimeters. So this would be 44 centimeters up to the cover right here, and the loading sill is about just under 70 centimeters. So overall, I think quite well usable. What we can do is also check out here some sound equipment, and then you can also flip the seats. And then when we went around, right here, there's a 2/3, 1/3 split, unless you also have the option of the ski hatch, which we also had in the other vehicle. You see there's a small step right here. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Mazda MX-30 electric vehicle. And the first impression is, that could also be a Mazda 3 or a Mazda CX-30, or again something in between. That's the first driving feeling, just from seating position and handling the steering wheel and so on. But then immediately you feel, wait a minute, there's about 310 kilograms of weight from this battery in the lower central part of the vehicle, and that immediately creates a great driving feeling indeed. So, this is the autonomous emergency brake, which was thinking I would run into this car. Of course, I had the situation under control, but good to know the system is working. So, and the thing is, this car feels, although it's way heavier than the Mazda 3 or the CX-30, it feels more agile because the center of gravity is, so low. That's really cool. The steering, as we know from the recent Mazdas, is really very well done. So it's a good feeling. They call this like this Jin by Itai. Yeah, it's a marketing slogan, but in this case, I think it's a very interesting one because they say unity of horse and rider. But what I mean is unity of driver, car, and the road. So, and this really works here. So you feel very much connected to the road, to the car. Again, a very, very good driving feeling as for steering and how you can control the car. So it's a lot of fun already in the city, even if you just drive slowly. This is really superb. And I felt it already when we were driving the prototype in Portugal and they transport that to the road. This one feels more sophisticated now with the finalized interior and so on. This is really very, very cool. At the same time, we have the EV driving, so it's all silent, and this is relaxing, so it can be relaxing if you like, but spontaneous in the acceleration because the torque is there immediately. As for the recuperation, I think they went for a very interesting setup here. A nice one, because this is the normal driving mode here at the moment, and when I leave the throttle, it does recuperate. It also shows me in this charging gauge right there. And then I have the choice. Can use the right shifting pedal, 1 or 2 steps, just to have a more rolling effect. So if you are a driver who wants to let the car roll, here we are, no recuperation at all, the car is rolling, which would be more efficient if you want to cover the most distance. So rolling is always more efficient than regenerative braking, unless you want to decelerate anyway, which is in many cases, when you lift the throttle, the case. And I think regenerative braking or recuperation is also a safety factor, because in the time you lift your foot off the throttle, the car is already decelerating even before you would approach the braking pedal. So, as for EVs or plug-in hybrid vehicles, I would always drive with recuperation methods. So you can use the left shifting pedal, 2 steps to go back to the normal driving mode, and then 2 in the other direction. So from this middle niveau, 2 steps in the one direction, 2 steps in the other direction. So here now, this is a very strong regenerative braking. I think it says it's limited because when I would use it for a longer time, the battery would maybe be even too full also. So even in the first step, it's already recuperating almost half of the potential possibility. And this is really cool because this is more like a one pedal driving feeling. This feels like in a Tesla, and we rarely had that, for example, with the new German electric vehicles, that the recuperation is so strong. Here on demand again, so you can drive like this, and I think so everyone can drive this car as you would like to have the recuperation set to. So I think it's a very interesting decision. It's also an easy solution, and again, I think it's safer because when I want to lift my foot off the throttle, probably want to do decelerate, and then most of the time I can just use the regenerative braking and maybe don't even have to switch to the braking pedal at all. Let's see about that. Here at about 70 kilometers an hour, or that's 45 miles an hour, very good noise insulation. Wow, this car is really very agile. It feels so light, although it is heavy for this compact size. Here now, lifting the foot off throttle, decelerating to 50 kilometers an hour. Yeah, it's a very, very flawless driving feeling and so much fun to steer this car around. Mazda 3 is already a lot of fun to drive, definitely, but if you compare the Mazda 3 to this one or the Mazda CX-30, this one definitely delivers more driving fun. Still, the seating position is quite decent, as I told you earlier. It's not like an SUV or crossover high seating position. It's more than, again, when I drive the car, I feel it's closer to the Mazda 3 than to the CX-30. Although looks-wise, it looks more like a CX-30 than it looks like a Mazda 3. But driving, feeling-wise, more, coming closer than to the normal compact hatch. But definitely very interesting. I mean, it's not super efficient with this, non-all-electric platform. But then again, considering the price, what they got there, pretty decent. Acceleration is also very nice. It's a spontaneous acceleration. It's like 1 or 0 with the, there's no classic power curve in an electric motor. So we always have a very spontaneous acceleration. And Jonas looks like he wants to have a real acceleration. He looks a little bit, we have been producing all day, like from the morning, and Jonas looks a little bit sleepy now.
I need to wake up.
Yeah, he needs to wake up, definitely, yeah. So when this traffic light jumps to green, I would just hit the throttle and do like a 0 to 50 kilometers an hour acceleration. Yes. Plop, that's it. That was already almost 60. Yeah. Nice. So, yeah, when you look behind you in the mirror, everyone is gone. So it's like sports car-like acceleration inside the city. Of course, it will, not be the same way when you're at higher speeds. That's also not what it's laid out to do. But I think really decent as for the acceleration. Pretty cool. Okay, lane change here. So much fun with this steering setup. So they really thought about what they're doing there. You can argue that it has to have a higher range, but then again, for primary city EV, I think it's also still okay. And I think the price is then really decent. And battery is one of the biggest issues, definitely, due to the suicide doors and also the small window there in the rear. The visibility to the sides is really very limited. So that you have the blind spot monitor as standard yellow triangle appearing in the side mirrors, that's really a very important thing. Definitely a must-have, but they thought that as well and made it a have. I think that's also a very fair decision for the customer, actually. So, especially driving around the city traffic is really cool. By the way, I'm not sure if you are noticing that on camera, but what Mazda has done is they implemented I think I have to go here, right? Yeah. They implemented an artificial electric sound. It's rather subtle. It's a little bit like we heard in the Porsche Taycan, not that extreme. In the Taycan it was on demand and connected to the driving modes. Some cars can activate or deactivate it. Here in this case they decided to have it activated all the time, but then it's really subtle. So when you're like slightly on the throttle, you do not notice anything at all. Just when I did that acceleration, you maybe heard it a little bit. I think it's fine. It gives you a little bit more sense of when are you accelerating or not, but it's not that it's disturbing you because it would be too loud or something. So I think that's totally fine then. Here once again, very calm in the city driving, and although we had the acceleration here, there's a 13.5 kilowatt hour on 1 kilometers consumption, and yeah, maybe we can put that back again to just to cut out the way. When are you doing 0 to 50 full accelerations in your everyday driving life? Not sure how often that happens. So I think I can drive this car even more efficient, and then we can also come somewhat closer to the official driving range figures, but it really depends on what's the higher speed autobahn share, for example, how much inner city driving and so on. But then we have to think about, due to the recuperation, inner city driving with combustion engines is often quite inefficient and high in consumption. But inner city driving with electric vehicles is absolutely fine. I mean, I'm just rolling, hardly using any power. There's no idle speed from the RPMs. When traffic light is red, I just stand still. Maybe I have some electric consumers, but that's about it. Heating in winter could be a problem, of course. However, they do use a heat pump here, so there's an AC synchronous motor, water cooled, and they use a heat pump so that the AC is more efficient. Using heat pump is very important in an electric vehicle when you're using the AC or the heating, because it just increases the efficiency. So you have a coolant and it's working either the way a refrigerator works or then the opposite way of a refrigerator. And the key to that is that the coolant is actually not at the same temperatures when it boils as water. And because when you think about, like, how is this supposed to work? How can that be even more efficient? That's the secret is actually the coolant you're using for that, because we all like water boils at 100 degrees Celsius and freezes at 0, and that's then different for other coolant fluids, and that's how it works. So here again in city traffic, I'm really feeling super comfortable, super at home, and again a lot of fun just steering this car even in traffic because it's so agile. Then you have this silent movement, and yet again see like, oh wait a minute, there's like a traffic light jumping to yellow. I just want to jump that, I want to catch that one, no problem, just once on the throttle and you're gone. And that's really very, very cool. So can just say a lot of positive things here about the Mazda. Head-up display is clear in my view, and again, standard equipment. Where do we have that? Where we have the blind spot monitor standard, the head-up display standard, ACC standard, adaptive cruise control. There's the blind spot monitor, not sure if there's any. No, I think you cannot see it on camera, but it's a yellow triangle. You can see in the side mirrors then, and then it's warning me that someone is out to overtake me. Here, the right side of the steering wheel, I can set the adaptive cruise control. It's already working here in the city. And I can also set the distance to the car in front of me. And we are approaching now the next traffic light with the car in front of us. What will the ACC do? Will we have a crash or not? I'm not braking. It's all the ACC. Very smooth. Still rolling. And now we come to a halt. I set the distance to the car in front of us, and that distance is also being kept when you're standing still. So that was a good test so far. Then you can activate or deactivate the active lane keeping assist here, also with a separate button. And again, heads off to Mazda that they worked on the interiors of the new vehicles. So we also have a nice resonating clicking sound here at the steering wheel, and that really plays a big role. And if you then think about, okay, the software visualization of the infotainment screen, that doesn't look that sophisticated. But especially when we're in the bright interior even more, but we have this car here and the dark interior with this sustainable fabric, leather red interior. You could very argue this is a premium vehicle if you think about like premium competitors in the compact segment. What would be more high class? The voice input system with Mercedes or BMW, okay, but then we already have to start thinking. And I think that's a big achievement here by Mazda, definitely. Now, setting the cruise control with so active lane keeping assist on and off. Yeah, I'm just checking how it appears in the head-up display. That's also very interesting. And let's see when it is actually active and when not. Primarily, of course, thought out to be an Autobahn feature. But let's see. So now 70 kilometers an hour. Let's see if it's already working right here. It's not yet. See here, I can also see the normal digital instruments. Yeah, it really depends on when. It's said to be that the system does not need a left and right white line. Yeah, but I think it really depends on. So you should never 100% rely on these systems, definitely. To me, the more important thing is that the autonomous emergency brake is working. That's really very, very important. And of course that the ACC is working flawlessly. So that's, to me, one of the biggest things. These lane keeping assists, yeah, you can argue. One thing is that even when it is on, it does not interfere much with your own natural steering feeling. Sometimes we have vehicles which are, when this option is set, are almost like uncontrollable. But here it's actually very subtle and very well done. Now it's finally on. It's also showing me a green steering wheel. And you can see I'm not steering at the moment, just staying awake and aware. And now I'm being kept in the lane automatically. Here are also two white lines. This was the ACC that was activated. Now accelerating on my own again, setting the cruise control once again. Now again the steering wheel is green, showing me, and yeah, there we are. I was drifting a little bit to the side. Now here, yeah, it does have its moments, this lane keeping assist, but it also has its other moments. Probably even fairer to the car if you do it at higher speeds and maybe like autobahn situations and so on. But I mean, this is always, of course, something we include in our tests. By the way, now energy consumption, I didn't do any full acceleration, now at about 14.7 kilowatt hours on mile kilometers. So yeah, I think we can be satisfied with that. So the the calculated range, if you think about, there's no net battery capacity value like an official one yet. We will experience that at a later stage, but should be like 31, 32 kilowatt hours or something. When you then calculate here about like 14 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers times 2, it's about 828, a little bit more. So yeah, then 215 kilometers or 100. Maybe 130, 135 miles could even be a very realistic figure. So that's how we could calculate with. But I always say, when it's about 50 kilometers more or less, or like 20 miles more or less with an electric vehicle, it's probably not the thing, Oh, I was thinking that, no, now it jumps to green. I was taking the bus got to start ahead. What the hell? Yeah, I mean, if range is so super critical for you, then EV is not something for you, not suitable for you yet, or you maybe just need it as a secondary vehicle. But others say, just commuting like 20, 30 kilometers a day or something, and that's it. Then it's actually already fine. For one longer holiday trip per year, then it's even, probably cheaper to rent a car just for this one trip or something. Yeah. So I was staying here with the recuperation mode, definitely felt more natural to me overall, but I can say driving dynamics, great. Efficiency, still quite okay. Range, we can argue about that, but then again they kept the price low, and also the CO2 output in the production. Interior, of course, we talked about earlier, but just from driving us here, once again, I think the sound, you could hear the sound a little bit better, this EP sound. Again, the flawless driving experience will be great also in the slalom effect. The suspension, by the way, felt to me really good and better even than in Mazdas before. Before that they weren't bad, but also not I would say that like super special, but here I felt the suspension was really good. Maybe this added weight is somehow good for the Mazda suspensions. Of course, they had to do something with suspension, make it a little bit different than in the Mazda 3, but obviously this combination worked very well. So, to me, one of the best suspensions yet they have mastered. They have mastered, you get that? Mm-hmm. That was cool, right? I really didn't plan it. Seriously, didn't plan it before. Gotta write that down. That will be included in every Mazda review in the future. You can check it out. So, and yeah, so driving wise, such a great vehicle to drive. I can just conclude that. And we have one addition for everyone who is interested in motorway riding this vehicle. Whoa, red light. Oh, good on the brakes, actually. That's nice. Oh, by the way, interesting information before we go to the motorway. The ACC does cancel the recuperation mode. So if I've set to the strongest recuperation, then I set the adaptive cruise control. Adaptive cruise control always puts it to the D-normal mode. So then you have to, you know, reset that again. Now getting on the motorway. And what about acceleration when we are already at speed? So here we are about 70 kilometers an hour and we go up to 100 or 60 miles. Let's go now. Plop, that's it. That's also still quite reasonable. And here also noise insulation, 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour is still very good. And every lane change is a lot of fun with this car indeed. Pretty cool. Now setting the cruise control to 100 kilometers an hour. And I want to get off here, so a little bit of acceleration. Next lane change. It's really cool. It almost feels a little bit racy, this car. So, really nice. So we're going to switch the motorway, and that's always a good test because then we have like this half loop, good corner to test the driving dynamics once again. And we don't have a motorway piece here where we can drive like super fast, not possible everywhere, but I can just stress again the normal traveling speed here to about 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. Very good noise insulation. Now a little bit faster in the corner. Center of gravity, feel it. Wow, I can even accelerate in the corner. Doesn't understeer whatsoever. We have front wheel drive. It's really cool. Wow. So it's also a good motorway vehicle, of course. Yeah, but I mean, long term, long range, that is the only limit with this car. Everything else, thumbs up. Hey, we found the faster autoway or motorway piece, 130 kilometers an hour, typical speed 80 miles an hour, and still noise insulation is very good. The car is very calm and stable on the road, and also here when I'm doing a lane change, that's really good. And now let's accelerate it even further out. Let's see about that. Now we are at about, yeah, it's 147 kilometers an hour. So we are about 150, and that's also then here the maximum speed of this vehicle. There's nothing more coming, and I think it's totally fine. And even here, that speed about 150 kilometers an hour. So yeah, that's about 90 miles an hour. It's totally fine, very silent and very refined, and this car is really calm and stable on the road. So it shows some of the, you know, let's say behavior that you would expect from higher segment vehicles, but yet again it drives still so agile, and here again, yeah, a little bit like a sports car. So this car really holds a lot of surprises. Of course, there might be some people saying like, oh, that's not a top speed for my driving behavior, I need to drive even faster. But that's again just as, first of all, just a German thing. By the way, you know, like from this fuel, like the energy consumption here like jumped all the way up now. So when you drive really fast, then the car is also not that efficient anymore. But it's also the same with combustion engine cars. Yeah, I mean, for most markets the speed will be more than sufficient, and even for German markets, you know, when you have a compact vehicle, how often do you have situations to really drive like on a longer period of time faster than 150? Depends on, but most people probably won't. I think it's also okay, and they also do that limit because then at some point it doesn't make sense then, you know, with this vehicle, and also with the not so big battery. Now we get all the driving impressions. And now to the conclusion for today with the all-new Mazda MX-30, this all-electric vehicle by Mazda. First of all, the exterior is a contemporary styling, and especially in this 3-layer red paint, one of the most impressive ones for sure. The interior is really cool a nice design. On the one hand, it's quite simple, unless, you know, the AC buttons, at least you still have AC buttons, but then the AC touchscreen, I think they could have saved that. Other than that, easy to drive, simple to learn, and especially, you know, both interior layouts you have, they both look quite fancy. They look high-class premium, they feel high-class premium, and they are sustainable from natural resources or from very sustainable artificial resources, in this case all animal-free, so it's a good step forward for Mazda. Just the steering wheel is not animal-free yet. Talked to the guys in Japan, they said they're also searching for a solution right there. But the materials are really top-notch. It's a premium interior. And then, of course, at this price, really great achievement. It also comes from the battery, which is not too big. Then again, for the usage of this vehicle, you know, you don't buy this for long autobahn hauls. So you have to be aware of that. It's just one thing that you don't have the super exceeding range, but yet again, the electric efficiency is actually quite good with this vehicle. So for the battery size, the range we could achieve, you know, with about 250 kilometers or about 125 miles. Could be a little bit higher maybe if you keep it a little bit steadier, but overall quite good as for the efficiency. And then driving wise, wow, cool driving dynamics. It feels sporty, almost racy, low center of gravity. They get it right with the steering feeling and so on. So it's a lot of fun to drive this vehicle. So the whole package is just superb. Yeah, I mean, the rear, the suicide doors, not really necessary. That would be another negative point. Yet again, it's fancy when you show it off to your friends, for example. But very well to use this car also trunk-wise, for example. So overall, I think it's a very nice and modern approach. And especially when you have some more governmental benefits, it can be a very attractive price indeed. Especially considering that so much is standard equipment, which is one of the fairest policies at the moment from all manufacturers on the market. And of course, adds to safety, because one of the things they make standard equipment are the safety assistance systems. So, a lot of interesting impressions here for you today. I hope you really enjoyed it. Please leave us your comments to the new Mazda MX-30. And it didn't start too well as for the first comments, especially because of the suicide doors and the small battery. But I think after driving it here, after seeing the final version, after seeing the quality on the interior and the whole vehicle concept, and again the price-performance ratio, I think this could be one of the big newcomers on the EV market. It's not an all-new platform, they use the derivative. But you know, sometimes also compromises work. What do you think? Leave us your comments. Thanks for tuning in today. See you next time.